Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. My name's Luqman and this is my story.
I couldn't find happiness in anything. I started reviewing all the places I was searching, like money, jewelry and women. Look at the lifestyle we was living. Now I find satisfaction in the simple things. Look at the inner peace that religion brings. Like just knowing your purpose in life. Like knowing the angel of death could take your soul tonight. Like the possibility of you getting to paradise. You know, knowing you can get there if you're living right.
I grew up in like Brockley and Lewisham. Spent probably the first 6 years of my life in Brockley. So I started like a nursery school, primary school up there. It was a Christian primary school. My family were not really religious. I grew up with my mum, my dad and my brother in our family home. And I went from that primary school, that nursery, which was all right. I enjoyed it quite much. I used to love football, playing football all the time, thinking I'm going to be a football player or a chef or something like that when I grow up. I remember changing schools when we moved towards Lewisham. So I started to go, my proper primary school from like class 1 or 2 was in Deptford, but Lewisham kind of Deptford, so I used to make my own way to school a lot of the time when I got a bit older. There was a Christian school, used to be involved in all like the school plays and used to get quite good roles in the school plays as well. I think my mum thought I was going to be an actor for a bit as well. I didn't go to primary school with my brother because my brother is like 4 years older than me, so he finished the last year in the old school that we were at. And then he went on to go to Haberdashers Asks. So I did my primary school time in primary school. There I think it kind of made my religious, me being inquisitive in relation to religion was there. But I didn't really ask many questions because I knew I believed in God, and the only way I knew was Christianity. So I just knew what Christians did and what we were supposed to do. My family didn't really make me go to church. I didn't really go to church on Sundays and go to church outside, but my school was quite intense like that. And I think it was good. It gave me a good moral standing on how to work out certain things and what was right or wrong. And I was always like a mummy's boy in a sense anyway, so I'd always think my mum knew everything that I'd done wrong. So if I did something wrong, I think she'd find out somewhere or another. And so after primary school, I remember they invited us to go to a church when I finished primary school in the 6 weeks holiday, and I used to go there quite a bit in the 6 weeks holiday. And then I started secondary school. I went to secondary school. I didn't get into Asks, so my brother wrecked it for me, yeah? And inshallah he'll tell his story one day and you hear what he says. He wrecked it for me to go to Asks. So I went to Adi and Stanhope down the road, and which at school I loved it. I was quite popular in school, but because my brother moved off the area as well, so he moved out of the house when the year I started secondary school. So he said to me, when I start, don't have it off anybody. Like I have to be militant in school and not give anyone any leeway. So I remember in the first year, it's kind of embarrassing to think about. I used to kind of like bully people a bit. I didn't think I was bullying them, and when it dawned on me that I was, I kind of like, "Rah, this doesn't make sense." But I was still quite popular in school. In school, I was alright. I used to enjoy football. I didn't play for the school football team in the first year because they tried to put me in defence, and I wasn't having it. So the second year, they put me somewhere else where I could try to score and show off, and I preferred that. But I played for the district. Went up through school with the intention to either be a PE teacher or play football. Then I left. When I left school, I went to Lewisham College, did sports, did a couple of A-levels. I got very good results at school, to be fair. At the time, they were good. Now, when I compare them to what kids get nowadays, they're not that good. But I got 9 A to Cs. So I had options when I went to college. And I did like 4 or 5 A-levels, AS levels, and PE. But I didn't finish the A-levels, so I did the AS and left. I went to Croydon College, and I went there with a girlfriend that I had at the time. And I studied computing. I don't know why. I think I just got kind of bored. I think the sports course cancelled after the first year at Lewisham, and then I got kind of bored. I thought, let me just do something like computer-wise. I knew there was money in it. And by this time, I'd realised I wasn't going to make it in football. I didn't do much. These times, we didn't really know about paying for like conference clubs and things like that. So I didn't pay any attention to it. I thought, I'm not going to be a football player, so I need to do something else to make money. So I remember starting working H&M as well around this time as well. It's the only place I really wanted to work part-time. So I started working in H&M, and which was decent. At the time, the things was girls and music, so also at the end of school, towards like year 11, I got really interested in doing music. So I kind of thought to myself, right, whatever I'm doing, even if I can't make it as a football player, I'm going to do music. I'm going to rap my way to success and be the best rapper in the world or whatever it was. Our time was grime and garage a lot, so I used to do that. And things were going all right in that sense. And then when I got to like, I stopped going to college at about 18 years old and just kind of concentrating a bit on doing music and working. So I was doing music quite a bit. And then I remember I met my, music was all right. We used to be on radio station and do all of them type of things, yeah? And yeah, go on radio and do all them type of things, which is decent because South London we got like our first radio station and we were like residents on there, so it was decent. We used to get booked to do raves. Money wasn't good from it, but we used to enjoy it. My heart, it's really weird. I used to try to explain to people that I like rapping, I like writing lyrics, I like recording tunes, I like doing songs, but I didn't used to like being in a rave. It used to feel very, very uncomfortable for me. I used to think to myself, there was always things kicking off, people getting in beef. When I was young, I'm from Lewisham, so I'm from ghetto. You go anywhere past Queen's Road, you're in Peckham, and a lot of the bookings used to get was in Peckham. My close friend was from Peckham anyway, so I was all right like that, but I wasn't all right, if that makes sense. You'd always get called up on it, like, oh, where you from, so on and so forth. And even like, I didn't really like the environment, so I was always like the designated safety man. So Luke, where's the exit? Luke, who's the baddest man in the rave? Luke, who's got this in it? I can tell you everything and scope the rave like Terminator and see what's going on, type of thing. And I remember around this type of time, I met my wife and my girlfriend at the time, and we were doing, we were shooting a video, like a Mothers Against Guns video, which was quite big at the time. So quite short I met my wife and she fell pregnant with my first. And I remember now this is when things like kind of got serious in my head, like what am I gonna do? So I started to go to set up, like doing access course to go to university. And I was trying to do music on the side as well. And I got to do the access course and I got through it. So I was able to go to university. But I remember we were doing the music thing and we was getting big with that because they paid a lot of money for us to do that video because it was Mothers Against Guns. So we had a lot of funding and a lot of support doing it. And I remember thinking, all right, I'm gonna have a child, so I need to know what I'm doing religion-wise. And around this time, I got a tattoo. I used to love tattoos, like, and I got a big tattoo on my chest, like tattoos on my arm. I got a big tattoo on my chest of a cross. And I remember going home, and my dad said to me, "You're gonna regret that." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because when you read up about Christianity, it's not gonna be what you think it is." And I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" So these times I remember that was in the back of my head. So when my wife got pregnant, I just started to think to myself, "What am I gonna do now? What am I gonna look into?" So I started to look into religion. So I started to read about Christianity, and I started to like pull it apart. And I knew there were aspects of it that were true, and I knew there were bits of it that made sense, but there was a lot of the principles that didn't make any sense to me. And I think it's quite easy to see those things when you live in an environment where a lot of people will say that they're Christian, that they're not. So I tried not to do that. I tried to look at people that I saw practicing and people that I saw that would honestly say that they're Christian, but I still couldn't understand the concept of the Trinity and things like this. So I remember thinking to myself, right, I can't do this. And around this time, I've got a cousin who'd been Muslim for he'd been Muslim for a couple of years. So he said to me, yeah, look into Islam, look at it. So I remember reading about Islam. And then one day, I don't know if I woke up in the day or I fell asleep in the afternoon, and I woke up and I felt like I was gonna die. And it's a really, really weird feeling. I can't describe this feeling to anyone. I felt sick, I wanted to cry. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I just knew I was gonna die. I knew I'm gonna die. And I actually thought I was gonna die there and then. And I remember saying it to my mum, and I was like panicking. I was like, I feel like I'm gonna die. I feel like I'm gonna die. I don't know what's wrong with me. She's like, are you short of breath? Are you in pain? I said, I don't know. I just feel like I'm gonna go. It doesn't feel right. So she said to me, look, if you feel uneasy, go to the hospital. So I remember going to the hospital, and I was in the hospital, and I was really confused. I thought, you know what? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I thought, I'm in the hospital, and then I remember there was a Muslim security guard walking through the hospital. And I said, and he went in the room, and I said, you know what? If he comes out the door again, I'm gonna go to the mosque and I'm gonna ask them and inquire about Islam. And he walked out the door and I said, right, cool, that's all right. So that was like something spiritual that I couldn't put my hand on. So I said, all right, cool. So I remember leaving the hospital, there was obviously nothing wrong with me. There's nothing to say there was anything wrong with me. To be fair, I don't even know if I saw him. I don't even know if I walked out after a while because I realised it was ridiculous. I didn't have any grounds to be there. And then I went to the mosque. And the first thing I noticed when I went into the mosque was there were loads of guys in there. And anywhere where I'd ever seen that many men before in one space, there was beef. There was never ever 50 man in a space and there wasn't beef or someone didn't like someone. But everybody was inviting me to come and sit down and talk to them. And I remember talking to a few brothers and they were talking to me about a lot of things. And I started to understand, I started, wow, this religion makes sense. It kind of makes sense. I get where it makes sense. And I remember a brother saying to me, I said, look, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna come back. And he said to me, raw, but what if you die? So when I left, I was like, all right, cool, this is what I feel like I'm gonna do. I had plaits at the time, I cut my hair off. I thought, yeah, I'm gonna get my beard's growing a bit, it's gonna look a bit more prominent now. And then as soon as I kind of made ends to, let's say, well, this is what I'm gonna do, I remember starting to feel really worried about it, like, oh, but what if I can't do this? What if this? And what about what's everyone gonna say? And how's my life gonna change? I've got a girlfriend at home, I'm not supposed to have a girlfriend. What am I gonna do? She's not gonna want me to do whatever. Because I kind of went on my own. So I remember ringing my cousin, he said, look, this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna panic, you're gonna feel very, very worried and very, very concerned. And then I remember being like feeling really, really, really lonely. And I think my wife still got a picture on one of her phones of me sitting down and I'm just thinking. And you can see that I'm really down in the picture. So I kind of withdrew from everybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. So for the next year, I didn't really talk to nobody. I didn't go anywhere. I started to read about every different religion and I kind of went through Islam again with a fine-tooth comb to see if it's what I wanted to do. And then I remember, during my process of reading, I remember one of the signs of the Day of Judgment is the sun rising from the opposite side. And I remember one day I went to sleep. Like I'd done a lot of reading. No, I did a lot of reading and we were shooting planning a music video, talking about our next song. We're talking about doing a song, and I said, "Rah, let's do a song like about women. Let's talk about women and talk about positive and what they need to do and to uplift them." And I remember saying, "Yeah, let's refer to them as sisters." And someone says to me, "You can't do that because all it's going to sound like you're referring to black women." I said, "It's not about black women." I said, "Muslims call all women sisters." And one of my friends said to me, "Bruv, like," he said, "Bruv, just shut up about this Muslim stuff. Why are you always on about it?" And I got really offended. I was like, "What?" And this is one very, very close friend. To this day, I love him to pieces, yeah? And he's one of the people that gave me books about Islam, and he's not Muslim. And even to this day, he's very supportive. He's the one of my very close friends, and one of the only people that hasn't changed. His mentality towards me hasn't changed since I become Muslim at all. But I was really angry. I thought, right, how can I be angry at him? This is someone that I'm never angry at. I'm never really upset or annoyed with. So I thought, right, this is obviously something that's in my head, and it's been playing on my head for a year to do. So I remember now, I went home, and I remember, like I said, one of the signs of the Day of Judgment was the sun rising from the opposite side. And I went to sleep, and I remember waking up, and I woke up in tears. I was in pieces, and I ran over to the window to look to make sure the sun wasn't rising from the opposite side. And even now, it makes me feel a bit weird to talk about it because it's a really, really overwhelming feeling. So when that happened, I said, look, I went to my wife and said, look, I need to go to the mosque. I need to go. I'm going to take my shahada. It's something I need to do. And she said to me, cool, like if you know what you want to do, then go and do it. So I went. And I took my shahada, and again, being around the brothers and being there, it felt really, really nice. But as soon as I walked out, shaitan on my back, look at the changes you're gonna have to do, what's gonna happen. I remember sleeping on my sofa, sleeping downstairs, not sleeping around my missus, she's upstairs with my kid. We've got my one daughter now. So I was really, really worried about what I'm gonna do and how I'm gonna do things. And then I remember going to see the imam, and he said to me, look, bring her to the mosque, let her speak, let her talk and ask questions here. Cool. Because that's the main thing I was worried about, because I think that's my direct living environment. My mum lived elsewhere, so obviously I worry about my mum and the hereafter, but my main concern was my direct family that was in front of me. So I was like, all right, what am I going to do? He said, look, just make dua and pray. And I remember him saying to me, look, when you take your shahada, you're clean. Yeah, you're in a situation where a lot of people aren't in, so make dua, make dua, make dua. So I made a lot of dua, generally. And I prayed for her, and I prayed for her to be guided. And it got to the point where I thought to myself, look, I'm not going to be with her. And anyone who knows me knows I love my missus to pieces. And I was like, you know what, it's not going to really work. I remember we was on our way to the mosque one day, and we was on our way there, and we was arguing. And I think, if I've got it correct, it was the day of Arafat, so I was fasting. And we got in an argument in the car. We were outside, we're like a doorway, and we got in an argument about something stupid. I was like to her, look, do you know what, you're getting on my nerves, I'm just going inside. Say what you want, do what you want, I'm going inside. So I went inside, and the imam said to me, look, like, he gave me some criteria. He said, look, do you want to marry her? I said, yeah. He said, bruv, he said, bring her in here and come and marry her now. You're making it complicated, but you don't need to make it complicated, bruv. It's going to make you feel a lot more at ease. And we were engaged already from Jahiliyyah, we were engaged anyway, to be married anyway. So I brought her in, and brothers will mock me for this because I had a Charlton top on as well. And they said, you got married in a Charlton top. And we got married. And then Imam asked her if she wants to become Muslim. She said, no, it's not what she wants to do. And about 2 months later, just randomly out of the blue, she told me, look, she wants to take a shahada, she wants to become Muslim. And it was shock. I was in absolute shock because I couldn't. Even when we were married, I still thought in my head, all right, I'm gonna have to get used to the lifestyle of my kid being raised by me as a Muslim and my wife doing her thing and struggling certain things. I remember one day she said to me, oh, can I pick her up? She wants to go out with her sister to a rave. And I was like, this is a madness. Like, I don't want her to go, Allah kind of settled it for me, man. It made it really easy for me in that sense. People often like ask, like, oh, so has Islam changed you? What has it done for you and how has it changed you? Because a lot of people thought I was morally quite good before. And alhamdulillah, there's a lot of things that my natural disposition took to and I've been able to do and been able to carry through because I've been quite a moral person. I've been, in Jahiliyyah, I've been to beef before and bought someone and said, look, if I'm talking too much and deliberating with this person, then hit him if he's right to get hit. Because I will talk and I'll try to find reasoning and make things fine. So I've always had that in me to talk and try to be that way. But what I found is it made me, it's given me a guidance and show me that I'm not out of place by being a certain way. And there's certain things I need to do to improve, but there is a place and there's a people who have this mentality and have this lifestyle and have a way that they're supposed to live by. It's made me more peaceful and it's improved the relationship with me and my mum. I've always gotten with my mum, but knowing the importance of your mum and that paradise is at her feet and just highlighting what she's done for me as a parent and my dad, it's made me respect and want to show her that more. Islam is a total way of life. And a lot of the time, that is the thing that people find very, very overwhelming because you think, oh, I have to change everything. But it's not about changing everything. It's about understanding what is the best way to be and working toward that. Because I think this, irrespective of how unique and how individual everybody thinks that they are, you are following someone's way of life. You're either following the way of life that society tells you is right to live, or you're following the way of life of something else. I remember growing up and baggy jeans was the thing. Then straight jeans was the thing. Now skinny jeans are the thing. Then men wearing leggings is the thing. These things are always consistently changing, whereas Islam remains the same. So you have a way to behave and a mannerism to keep, and yeah, you can fit in, you can be stylish, you can fit in here where you fit in there, but you have parameters and boundaries and pastures what you don't graze in and you don't go into. And I think everybody needs that. Despite how controlled and how sensible people think they are, I think everybody needs that. Everybody needs a guidance, either to give affirmation of what they're doing correct, or to guide them and show them what they're doing wrong, and guide them back onto the right way to be. So my advice for people who are non-Muslim and are interested in looking into the deen is that you'll be very, very surprised that you've probably met 1 million Muslims in your life before that you get on with. People trust you. A lot of people trust Muslims with their life as their doctor and as their person that they go to go and talk to at their local shop, or people to feed them and give them food every day. I'd say don't let the media tell you about Islam. If you want to know about Islam, go to the source. Read the Quran. Go and speak to Muslims and try and understand where they're coming from. For those who are new Muslims, I'd say don't despair and take advantage of this time. The time where it's kind of the hardest and the easiest and the hardest time at the same time. You've got the hardest because you have doubt and you think, what am I doing? And is this the right things that I've done? It's the easiest because it's fresh and it's beautiful. You see the beauty in it. So keep that and try and keep that fire, because then I go on to the people who've been Muslim for a long time, and myself included, is that we take it for granted, and you feel, if you don't fuel the fire, the flame goes out. So you need to fuel it by being around the right people, by educating yourself, and by again, not letting the media tell you about your religion. Understand and learn your religion yourself. Do you know what I mean by that? And take it in steps and phases. Don't try to adopt and say, I'm going to try and do everything and this, that, and another, because sometimes we don't know what we have to do. We don't define the difference between what we have to do and what's good for us to do.
Yeah.